What's up, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined by TeacherKirby.
Hey, folks, how's it going?
And our man with the RP, Artie.
Hey guys.
Well, as some of you folks may have noticed, we are just the three of us right now. A little bit of news we want to bring to you about the Pilot Review Show. For the past couple of weeks, some of you may have noticed that Timberwolf hasn't been with us. He's had some personal stuff he's needed to take care of outside of the game. For now, Timberwolf has decided to step away from the Pilot Review Show, and for the time being, it's just the three of us at the moment. But Timberwolf just decided he wanted to spend some time with his family, take care of a few things, and we understand that. And we wish our good friend all the best, and hopefully, maybe sometime in the future, he might decide to drop in on us once in a while from time to time. But anyways, that's the latest happening so far with PRS and everything. But we can go ahead and get into our main bits of the articles and everything. We had our Extra Life 2016 live stream for the PC and the console. Bring up this little article here. But recently, Perfect World has
It is true. I do not have a song.
Get the sound a little bit from that ad. Anyways, recently, Perfect World has been doing their charity live stream thing. And you can see they've got a link up so you can watch it in the article stuff there. They're going to be doing various giveaways, some stuff from WizKids. You can see later on in the local recording, everything. Some Star Trek Attack Wing starter sets, some expansion sets assorted, some Star Trek Frontiers, then also some different pieces of gear for the PC, some internal USB hubs, a set of two 120mm AER RGB fans. I'm assuming that may have meant Acer, but they just misspelled it. And then down below they give some of the donation links and everything you can do. Scroll through that so everybody can see that. But anyways, it looks like their stream is actually still going on at the moment. But definitely encourage folks to check that out. But anybody have any comments, anything on this right quick?
Well, I know it's a nice charity. It goes to a good cause. It's actually what I believe this kind of live stream, charity live stream, is what gave Timberwolf the idea for doing his charity live stream as well. So it's nice that you can that the gaming community can come together and raise money for a good cause.
Indeed. It's there we go. It's this year they're supporting the UCSF Benif, however you say that name, Children's Hospital located in San Francisco, out in California. My apologies if I butchered the name, which I'm sure I probably did. But anyways, definitely check that out. Encourage y'all to take a look at it. Donate if you feel like it and everything. I'm sure they'll be glad to get any little bit of donation. And you might just win yourself a prize or a giveaway thing in the process. But anyways, that's the charity live stream. I encourage everybody to check that out. But the next big thing we have going on for this week is our Crystalline Entity event for the PC. And this go around, you can get, as always, the 50,000 lithium. You can get some fleet marks, a choice of marks, and I believe this time around is the Crystalline Radiation Projector. So it's a new type of ground weapon. Everything.
It looks very interesting.
Indeed. Me personally, I don't know if I'm going to use it, but I'm definitely going to pick it up at least. Maybe experiment with it and everything, and I guess just kind of see from there. What about you, Sir Artie?
To be honest, I actually kind of forgot that there was the event going, and I just keep on forgetting about it.
Yeah, it sounds like something I would
So,
do.
yeah, but from what I can see from the items that's being given out for this one and also previous, uh, it seems like they're getting some really interesting stuff, and it's pretty good. I have to say, it's something to experiment with, definitely.
Some pretty good thoughts all around, it seems. But definitely encourage folks to check that out. You can earn one crystal shard per every 20 hours. And then, if you're somebody that doesn't want to save your shards, or you just need the marks or something, you can actually do a bonus project afterwards that will only cost one shard, and you'll get 2,000 dilithium ore, some fleet marks, and a mark choice pack of either more fleet marks or any of the reputation marks that are currently out there. So definitely encourage folks to check that out and maybe get yourself a nice new ground weapon. But one of the big things I know some people were keeping an eye on is the Lucari ship. We finally have a winner announced in the community ship event, and Google Chrome will cooperate with me a bit. Team Alpha ended up taking the winning spot. That's the one that looked like the triangular shaped craft and everything. Ironically, the one I was actually pulling for and hoping would win. But anyways, it seemed like there was a lot of chatter, a lot of people voting, talking about the different ships and everything. Hopefully we'll see more on the bridge officer layout and everything pretty soon. This will be this year's anniversary ship, actually, from the Lucari story arc that we've been doing. So definitely some fun stuff to look forward to. I want to see how they're going to do the ship itself, bridge officer layout and everything. But anybody have thoughts on the ship? Anything?
It was the A that won. So it's going to be a nice triangle. I've heard some complaints about it, actually. Which is interesting, because, you know, hey, you vote, that's what wins. But yeah, it's, I think, I mean, it's the one that if I voted, I would have voted for. So, I really don't have any room to complain. As I said, my biggest thing is, does it get this quickly? Okay, I'll fly it. So, I mean, and I'm not belittling anybody that does care about looks, but if I had voted, it's the one I would have voted for, so, okay. Cool.
Can see that. What about you, Artie? I know you're somebody that loves to space Barbie and everything. Any thoughts on this particular ship winning?
Well, I will start off saying I humbly accept defeat because I did not vote for this one, but I still like the design. It's really nice, especially, I don't know if it's actually going to be like how the picture shows, but it is really a good ship for something. It's something different. It doesn't match with anything we already have. What I do hope for is that not only is it going to be a good ship, like with DPS or whatever, bridge outlet, you know, all the bridge layouts and stuff like that. I want to see its bridge. I want to see if it has decks, you know, see how deep the ship goes, you know? Because if it gives us a new bridge, and depending on how big it is, that makes it much more exciting for me, because then I can tinker with every little bit of it and see what I can find, you know? See what I can use this little console for, or, you know? It's just that little nitpicky thing with our peers that just, like, we try to find every little bit of a bridge that we can just use, like a specific helm console and tactical and all that. You know, see what that's going to be like on this ship.
Understandable, and makes sense, I guess. Me personally, I have to say I'm kind of glad this one won in a way, because it looks quite a bit like some of the ships from a lot of the alien conspiracy theories I follow. So either way, for me, regardless of which of the three won, you know, I get my conspiracy ship. So yay, that's fun for me.
Yeah, just our luck. The first mission we get with it gets sent back in time. We never see it again.
That would be my luck with this particular type of ship. But anyway, we'll have that in the notes for you guys. You can check it out and everything. And hopefully we'll have some more information on the Lucari ship as we get closer to the anniversary event, and hopefully get some good stuff for you guys. But moving right along, we have the introduction to research and development for the consoles. Google Chrome's been a bit slow with me tonight. But basically, the article, it goes over the item creation, explains how to do it, you know, gathering your materials, creating the components, and then the final assembly of items. It's touch bases on some of the different schools you've got, such as science, ground, cannons, beams. It explains your skill progression, duty officers, and pretty much the whole 9 yards. It gives you a bit of information about what each individual school can create, such as for beams, we can create beam arrays, dual banks, and tactical related consoles for your starship. You've got your special omnidirectional beams at high levels. Then you've got certain batteries that you can get, touches based on the space traits and everything. So, pretty much a good rundown of everything for the console players. I know some people had actually been kind of looking forward to this. And then also you guys will be getting the research and development packs, the ones for 300 Zen, and also a 4-pack for 1,000 Zen. So some pretty decent stuff there that they've got for all of the console players. Should be enough to get everybody started. But any thoughts on this right quick?
It's definitely interesting. I think it's a good thing to have.
Indeed.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah.
It's really nice that they've finally got the R&D stuff into the console. Now they can actually build their
Yeah.
own beams and all that. Yeah.
Indeed. So, for you console
Yeah,
players...
I know they've been
Go
waiting
ahead.
for it. I know they've been waiting for it, so it's definitely a good thing to have. It's, yeah. Yay!
Indeed. So, for our console players and everything, I know that's been a big gripe, at least that I've had personally as well, is I've not really been able to control what I get, given my character's still low level at the moment, but still it's been a bit of a pet peeve I've had to worry about for the higher levels and everything. But definitely check that out, guys. You know, maybe check out some videos from PC that's out there so you can get an idea of what you're getting into, or dive into it head first, whichever you prefer. Either way, it's I'm really glad to see this is actually finally coming for you guys and for everybody, because it just means the game is getting, I guess, more and more complete over there. But moving right along, we have our release notes from November the 3rd for the PC. And come on, Chrome. Not that extensive of a list, but a decent set of things, such as for those people that were playing on Windows XP and could not load the game, that issue should have been resolved. We had some issues with the lighting updates, as well as a couple of things for the Echoes of Light mission, some different system stuff that deals with kit modules, and also prevented Temporal Ops characters from claiming rewards on other characters. So that's a couple of the things there. Anything stick out to anybody in particular?
Like you said, there wasn't a whole lot. I think the biggest thing was that players now receive XP for completing the Echoes of Light episode. XP, definitely a good thing. I'm actually surprised that I buy people. Yeah. So,
Yep.
that was the big one for me.
Anything in particular for you, Artie, that sticks out?
Well, I'm finally glad that they resolved the issue with the kits and kit modules going missing. I mean, I've already gathered resources and already made and found the modules that I haven't already upgraded them to better versions than what I already had. So, if I ever get them back, yay! But I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get anything better than what I already have now. So, I'm glad they finally fixed that, because there was
Yeah.
quite a few people that were complaining that they would say they would have a one of the reputation kit modules. It would vanish, but they would get a reputation module from a different reputation altogether. Me
Indeed.
personally, I got I used to have the micro photon torpedo from the Terran task force reputation, and was given the something from the Iconian reputation. I can't remember what that kit was, but it was fixed nonetheless. So,
Well, it's good to know they got that fixed. But if anybody's still missing kits and everything, definitely give them a little bit of time. Maybe put in a ticket and say, hey, my kit modules didn't come back with the patch. Definitely let them know and everything if there's still some issues with that. But one thing that actually did I caught was they updated the low-buy store to offer the Jem'Hadar Heavy Escort. I know that was supposed to have already been in there with one of the recent patches. I'm assuming that something went wonky with the patch and it actually had taken it back out. So they've definitely got that back in there again. And it appears we have been joined by the boss man.
Someone has to show up once in a
Hey,
while,
Scott.
How's it going, everyone?
What's happening, dude?
hello.
We're just discussing the patch notes, good sir. Any comments, questions, anything?
I was just coming in to listen, guys.
It's all good. But, anyways, folks, we'll have the patch notes for everybody in the description. You can check those out, everything. But, moving right along, we have the Echoes of Light Week 2 rewards for PC. This over.
Yes. Oh, on the skill notes,
Okay.
we did notice one thing that it said that the talking to the temporal agent for the non-temporal agent tunes, talking to the contact, had been fixed. If you've noticed that you've still had problems when you first logged in, give it a while. I experienced it, some others experienced it. I was actually going to make a recording that I still couldn't talk to the temporal agent, and by the time I got around to doing it, after running all my CCAs for the event, I was able to talk to the temporal agent on every single tune. So, be patient, give it about an hour, and then go back and try again.
Seems like we've got a pretty decent workaround there. But for our Echoes of Light stuff, they've released the second thing this week, which is the energy console. It's the... We had the
Capacitor.
There it is. An Nausicaan Siphon Capacitor for Science. I don't actually have the console yet, so I can't really show that for you guys on camera, but definitely seems to be worth it and everything. Then for week 1, if you didn't get to see that, you have the choice of the beam array and also the energy lance that you can pick up. Then, since this is the featured episode once a week, you can get a box that will give you either an enhanced universal tech upgrade or your choice of a captain specialization point. So if you're looking for a couple of quick, easy spec points, that's a good way to do it. You can get a spec point to fill out that one last little thing you need, or just to move yourself right along. But, anyways, that's some of the stuff you can see there. It touches base on the set bonuses. For the 2-piece, it's a Disruptor Net that has a chance to apply a hold and do some Disruptor damage over time. Then the 3-piece provides an increase to Disruptor damage and hull penetration, and it was a pretty sizable increase from what I saw, about 26%. So definitely advise checking that out if you're somebody that likes to use disruptors, or maybe you're just looking to check out something different. But moving right along to our next article, we have the lifetime subscription sale. This is for the PC. If you're somebody that's been looking to perhaps get your lifetime subscription, you've not really been sure about it, you've been kind of put off by the $300 price tag, now's the good time to do it while it's on sale for $200. And you do get quite a bit of stuff with it. I know that seems kind of hefty to a lot of people, But just
Yeah.
the ships themselves, we figured is about $120 worth of it. If you check out what they would normally cost for a Faction 3-pack, essentially. Then you get
I mean,
the... Oh, go ahead.
well, the big thing for me is that you get a 500 Zen stipend every month. So when you really think about that, the, $199.99, $5 a month over, it pays for itself in a couple years. So whether you're playing or not, no matter what you do with that Zen, it pays for itself because you get it back in the Zen that they give you every month. So that's something to consider.
Indeed. And you also get things like the Talaxian species as a playable species that you can roll with. You get some other little goodies, such as some extra ship slots, a couple of titles, an android bridge officer is a couple of things. So that's a couple of good rewards that you get there. But I definitely advise people to look into it. And also, the Liberated Borg tunes, I believe you can get as well. So
Yep.
a lot of good stuff to consider. One thing I will point out, if people are considering getting subscriptions on the console, as it sits right now, the major difference between PC and the console is that the PC gets the 500 Zen stipend, the console does not. That may change in the future to include console as well, but I just wanted to throw that out there. That way people aren't like, hey, where's my 500 Zen? I bought it on the console and it's not here. But that's one thing to keep in mind. But overall, I think it's worth it. And if I had the money, I would probably go ahead and do that. But again, that's just me. But this week we have a budget build. I believe TeacherKirby had one that she was going to do for us.
Yes. Alright, so I'm actually working on it because I made some changes to it. And I haven't updated it since, but it will be updated. I'll make sure it stays with the same link that Mr. Chris here is showing you. But this is a Nandy, so I'm actually going to refer to the in-game ship right now. So this is a Nandy, which, yes, it was exclusive to summer event, but if you can find a ship that has similar, a similar layout, then you can adapt it to that ship. I am not using the Nandy trait anymore, which, funny enough, when I changed it and took off the Nandy trait, the DPS on this actually went up. Go figure. I wouldn't have thought it. But it is a drain build, which I put on an engineer. Go figure again. But, so for the actual ship, I'm actually using, I'm not sure, what is your link showing there, Mr. Chris, as for what I'm using right now?
I currently just see the YouTube link at the moment. Do you have the
Okay.
Academy?
Yes, I do. Hold on. In fact, so let me make sure I save that. Because, oof.
Alrighty, I'm guessing
All
this
right.
right here.
Alright, it's into that one. That should be...
Alrighty.
Oh, yeah, it's different. I don't know why it's different. But I will make sure that it gets updated.
Yeah, that's just the link that was in the
Yeah,
Okay.
notes, so
I'll make sure the link in the notes gets updated right now.
I think so.
Alrighty. Yep. Folks can see some of the equipment that she's using there, hopefully. Everything. Some of
The equipment is all accurate.
Alright. So, may have to go back later on and provide the correct link, but hopefully you guys see that
Yes.
there.
Just
Then,
making sure that it gets updated. Okay. So, give me 1 second here. Alright. So if you look at the equipment, so I'm using the full quantum phase set, which you would think on a drain build, well, okay. So the reason for that is because it gives a extra clickable activity, an extra clickable activity, or clickable ability, hello, that is called, what's it called? The quantum destabilizing beam. Okay, that not only is a huge phaser damage for 10 seconds, every second for 10 seconds, gives a whole bunch, 4,256 phaser damage. Okay, but it also drains a heck of a lot for every one of those seconds. So it also drains, it's like a second plasmonic leech. It drains minus 5.9 all power with my current setup. So that's a heck of a lot. And it also procs the leech. So it's draining 9 point something, a little over 10 power from the subsystems, and adding that to your subsystems every second for, for the 10 seconds that it's activated. Okay, so that's huge for a drain build. Not only that, the quantum phase torpedo drains shields like nobody's business. Drains 3,230.6 all shields in a 2-kilometer radius. You put that on spread, and you're draining the shields off of everything in a mob. It's a huge advantage. Okay? And the quantum phase torpedo, or quantum phase, beam array, does a similar thing. It also procs the leech and has a 2.5% chance to drain away shields as well. Okay? So, huge advantage to have that set. Plus having the console gives you an extra plus 20% phaser damage and an extra 30 to your starship drain expertise. So, good all around. Now, the beams came from running the mission Everything Old is New. So I ran that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to get the beams to fill this out. And then I have the quantum phase set, which I've reviewed on Teacher's Corner previously. So this gives me a bit of drain expertise. This gives me some healing, shield restoration, shield capacity. So some nice stuff. And the 3 of these together also gives me a energy weapon entanglement, which gives me a extra damage boost as long as my foe lives. So you put that on big targets and then target something else, and you're going to get a huge damage boost. Okay? And then I got from the research lab, I did get some restorative particle focusers, drain X times 2. So that gives me a huge amount of drain expertise for each one, so that I'm getting a huge amount of things. And of course, you notice I do have the plasmonic leech, but this is a Klingon. Klingons get the plasmonic leech from the, not the Valdor, that's the Romulans, from the Vandal Destroyer. Yay, memory! From the Vandal Destroyer for 1,500, I want to say, Zen. So it's a rather cheap purchase, and once you purchase it for 1 Klingon, it is available for every Klingon on your toon, or on your account. And then I crafted some tactical phaser relays, so these were pretty cheap. And of course, in my tactical slot to fill it out, I have that quantum phase converter. And the timeline stabilizer came from the anniversary ship, the Krenim Science Vessel. So of course that's giving me some weapon firing cycle haste. Okay? So that pretty much deals with all the equipment. Any comments so far, guys?
One thing I will point out is
Yes.
for the link that I have, it doesn't show the timeline stabilizer at the moment.
Oh.
So one thing.
Oh, okay. I haven't put it in.
Yeah.
I must not have put it in.
So for folks that are going
it
to see
shows
this
the
later on,
EPS regulator.
yeah, for folks later on that
Yeah.
are going to be viewing this episode, we'll have the correct version of everything for you in the notes and everything.
Yes.
So just be aware for right now, the EPS regulator should be the timeline stabilizer console.
And the EPS regulator was a drop, by the way, but that is, if you don't have the timeline stabilizer, that is a valid replacement. Because that will help your power to transfer more quickly, and that is a very good thing to have there instead. And that was a green Mark 12. That was literally a drop from a mission. So the skills are on there. This is a pretty balanced build. I spent 13 in engineering, 13 in science, and 18 in tactical. So this is an old version of a build, or an old skill build that I did for all my tunes. It's not a bad one. I just scored last night on this version of this build. I just did 47k on this build with this skill build. So this is not a bad build, It's doable. And then all the traits are free traits. I haven't got them in there yet, but I've got Thrill Seeker, Operative. These are all traits that you are given. I've got, Fleet Coordinator. It's plus 2% all damage per team member, self-included, so that's a great one to have. Beam Training. Let's see, Point Blank Shot comes from running a mission. Grace Under Fire, which comes from being an engineer. Beam Barrage comes from getting level 15 in Beam Crafting School. Innocuous, again, you're given that one. And then Particle Manipulator comes from getting level 15 in Science Crafting. And then I have Command Frequency, which comes from leveling up your command specialization. I've got Improved Temporal Insight, which comes from having a Delta Recruit. If you don't have that, you can of course replace it with something like the Best Defense, something you get from running a mission. I got Pedal to the Metal, which comes from leveling up Pilot. I have actually Superior Pedal to the Metal. And I've got Enhanced Power Condensers, which comes from one of the Breen ships from one of the winter events. Which, of course, if you don't have this, you can replace it with something else that you get for free, and that's fine. And then Space Reputation, I've got, what do I got? Precision, Advanced Targeting Systems, Auxiliary Power Configuration Offense, and then Tactical Advantage, that's standard issue, and Active Reputation, all the standard issue ones. Okay, so that's pretty normal stuff. Any comments on that?
Seems like a pretty decently well-rounded build so far.
Yeah?
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
really
it
nice.
Yep. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, I purposely did this to be cheap and dirty and just see what I could do with it. And like I said last night, in a pug, no less, I got it up to 47k. So now, your results, your mileage may vary. Piloting does make a difference, but this should at least get you started. And of course I haven't leveled anything up on this. So, what you see is what you get. But yeah, it's a good little start.
Indeed. Now, one thing I would ask as well, because I know a lot of people...
Mm-hmm.
How can I say this? A lot of people, whenever they think budget build and everything, obviously this seems like a pretty decently cheap thing to go out there and get. Now, as far as timeline, I know that's another big thing. People don't want to feel like they're going to have to take 40 years to get a ship. Rough estimate about how long would you say it would take to get most of everything here?
Oh, well, let's see. Like I said, the personal space traits are given to you already, with the exception of the beam barrage and the particle manipulator. You do have to get those, your crafting schools, to level 15 to get those two, and that's beam and science. You can, for the most part, run those together, but that would mean you'd have 6 things unlocked. So assuming you have at the most 5 unlocked, that would probably take the longest at a couple months. As far as the starship traits, I think the starship traits and the personal traits would probably take the longest.
Yeah, like the
So
overall equipment and everything, I guess, is what I'm going for.
yeah, the overall equipment wouldn't take that long. I mean, especially if you have friends willing to run with you to do the everything old is new. You'd have to run that 6 times, which, I mean, it's one episode. It takes about 20 minutes, 30 minutes at most. Let's say 30 minutes. So that would be 3 hours game time. And then another 45 minutes, let's say an hour game time for the quantum phase weapon set, and another hour game time. So I'm saying maybe 5 hours of gameplay time to get the quantum phase weapon set and the quantum phase space set, the deflector, impulse, and shields. Other than that, it depends on how quickly you can get the fleet. The science consoles, they're cheap. The ones from the research lab are very cheap. So, and you only need 4 of them. So I'd say if you run Undine Assault Advanced, you get about 300 fleet marks. If you donate that for fleet credits, and then grind the dill, I'd say maybe another 2 hours of gameplay for that. So we're looking at, 7 hours of gameplay total? So I'd say maybe a couple weeks.
Okay, so...
But overall, yeah, those are the cheapest.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Say, so roughly about maybe 2 weeks, everything, counting everything total. That's not bad. So
All the equipment anyway, yeah.
Yeah. But keep in mind, folks, some of these things, it may take you a little bit longer to get everything 100%, such as some of the ones you have to level through R&D. I always typically assume that folks are going to level something as they're doing it. Again, just my personal thing.
Yes.
But, anyways, we'll have the correct everything in the notes for everybody.
I promise.
Yeah. We'll have that in the notes because we didn't really have...
we had it kind of sprung on us, sorry.
Yeah, kind of sprung on us last minute, and not everything's been up to date on the local recording, so when you're watching this later on, keep in mind, pay attention to the actual link that's going to be in the notes, not so much what I'm showing on the screen at the moment. But anyways, definitely a good build. We're going to start doing some more builds for you guys as well. That's one thing we've been missing the past couple of weeks, but we're going to get that back into the game as well. But moving right along, I guess I'm up to bat with the Buggy corner. So, a couple of ones that I know some people had mentioned were the temporal agents not being able to claim the rewards. That should have been fixed. Now, if for whatever reason TeacherKirby's workaround does not do the job for you, definitely report that, because that is a major, major thing. I know some people as well, myself included, had been missing the Jem'Hadar Heavy Escort Carrier Tier 6 on the low buy store. That should have been replaced, and thankfully has been. So definitely check that out. But another thing that I see is some folks reporting issues on Xbox One not being able to switch their outfits like they're supposed to be able to. So definitely my Space Barbies, help me out if that's happening. Please report it. Let them know. Is it just specific types of outfits that it doesn't let you switch? Is it just specific zones that it doesn't let you do it in? Is it giving you a type of error code? Try to give as much information as you possibly can and let them know. Then one thing I see with the PC is for the Sovereign class ships, the lights and the warp trails seem to be missing. And then there's a couple of folks reporting issues on the PS4 with some of the specialist trophies glitching out and everything. So, some pretty weird stuff, I guess you could say there. But I don't really have too awful much this week. Everything, again, I am working on a lot of stuff for you guys in the background that I can't really talk about much yet, at least until after it's fixed. But hopefully, once I get some of this stuff taken care of, I might be able to fill you guys in a little bit and say, hey, this has been fixed, everything. But it's pretty much all I have as far as my personal segment this week. But coming up now on Teacher's Corner this week, it looks like you've done the Breen Absolute Zero set.
I have.
And take it away, teacher.
I have done the Breen Absolute Zero set. It's a nice little set for if you're going straight drain, and I know build where I didn't use it. That was actually the initial set that I used, believe it or not. So yeah, it was the original set that I used was the Breen Absolute Zero set because it is a nice drain set. The three-piece the three-piece that you get is an actual extra drain ability, similar to, or actually it's exactly like the energy siphon you get for the bridge officer skill, Energy Siphon 2. Actually, it drains as much as that. Now the thing here is that if you put this on a Breen ship, you get a 25% stronger drain from that ability. So it's interesting. So you get that, and I mean it is a nice set. It is, you can get it at level 35. Is it 35? Yeah. I'm gonna double check that because that seems a little low, but I'm gonna double check that because that's in the Breen arc. 45. Okay, so you can get this at level 45. That's right, 35 is the Dominion set, or the Jem'Hadar set, which is next week's teaser. Okay, so but yeah, it is a nice drain set. It does have some nice tanking abilities, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I liked it. I do still like it, but yeah, it has some interesting things like a slow resistance rating, but it does give, and it gives some control expertise. But yeah, it gives some nice drain X. And it does have, this is one of the first ones that included a warp core in it, and it does have a singularity core as well, so you can do either or. So it's kind of a confusing thing when it says there are 5 pieces, because technically there are, but you're never going to have more than 4. And that was my husband back there in the background talking about fist bumps.
Dang it, no!
Okay. Dang it, Poe! But yeah.
But
So I think we just found the episode title.
yep. And just curious, if I
Yep.
may, did you actually use the warp core in
Yes.
the build?
I did when I was using the set with my drain build. I'm now using a fleet warp core. Oh, I forgot to mention that when we were going over it. Okay. So, yeah, I did briefly when I was using it with the when I was using it before I switched to the quantum phase. But yeah, I mean the 4-piece is interesting. So, but check it out for yourself. I go over each of the set pieces, and yeah. So check it out for yourself. And there we go. The eject cryoplasma. It's similar to eject warp plasma, basically. So it's a slow, but yeah. And the second piece, the 2-piece set bonus, is helpful for a drain build. But yeah, I just find that having the extra attacks are a bit more helpful, as it were. And since we've got those other things where we can have Drain X times 2 on all our science consoles, yeah, I find that more helpful to my build than having the extras from the 2-piece set bonus with the Breen Absolute Zero set. Alright.
Well, it seems like a pretty good informative video. Definitely advise folks to check that
Yes.
out. Everything, and maybe check out the Breen set for yourselves as well. But,
Yes. I mean, like I said, if you can't get to where you can get the Quantum Phase set yet, and you're looking to do a budget build and you're looking to do Drain, you can definitely go with the Breen set. If you like just made 50, haven't got to 60, you can definitely use that as a substitute. So, there you go.
Yep, definitely check that out, folks. We'll have a link to the video in the description for you guys. But anyways, we're coming up on our final segment, which is the RP Corner with Artie. And this one, I'm kind of wanting to hear about. It's
I know, right?
doing R&D based PvP and frying red shirts. I want to hear this, dude. Take it away, man.
Okay, well, what sparked it up is that I saw the console guys finally getting R&D, and I was like, maybe I should do something about that. So, as of recent, I've gone into a bunch of RP of finding ancient alien tech. We don't know who it's from, and we've had to analyze it bit by bit, at least from how our game master for that session lets us find. So, basically, what it's all about is you could, do multi-spectral scans. You could tear the whole thing apart bit by bit and see what it gets. It's basically saying that you can do whatever you want for research and development, I guess you can say, after the fact. But it's looking at it as you're the scientist, you're the engineer, you're the person that's trying to figure out what this thing does. You don't know what it does, not yet anyway. What can you do to it? I mean, poke it with a stick, yeah, maybe, that'll work. But depending on how the RP goes, and depending on how lenient your game master is, as I say, we have had incidents where, let's just turn it on and see if something happens. If you turn it on and your roll is good, something good may happen. If you turn it on and it's not good, you may lose all the red shirts in the nearby engineering section. Oops. So, the other thing that goes along with this is not only, trying to figure out alien tech or anything like that. It's more or less building what you want. I've seen so many people coming up with their own experimental and custom-made weapons, shields, torpedoes. Who knows? It's just all over the place. Personally, I've made a baseball bat meant for tactical use. Yes, it sounds hilarious. So basically how most people would start with it is they have the idea. What do they want? A rifle? Alright, you start out with a rifle. What do you want it to do? I want it to go through shields. Alright, so kinetic weaponry or something stronger. And if they want to make sure it's durable, they can come up with a new material or figure out a way of actually doing the science, I guess you can say, through RP and obtaining these materials like denatarium for certain hull structures of starships and stuff like that. I have to keep on going back to my personal experience with it because I did go with a lot of R&D RP. Like I mentioned a bit ago, I had my character she came up with the whole idea of having a baseball bat as her melee weapon when she loses her rifle or anything like that, or she's stuck in a corner and she can't use a ranged weapon. So the baseball bat became a good weapon since it was, easy to use, and she's a big fan of baseball. Might as well use what you got. So what we came up with me and the other science officers that came around in our group went, all right, we have multiple different materials we can use: denatarium, duranium. A few people even mentioned neutronium, and I told them to go dip into a neutron sun to figure out how to get it. So there's hilarity in it. But it all just, if you think about it, if you really go delve into the deep end on what you're wanting to get or what you're trying to think of, anything's really possible. As long as you talk to whoever's in charge, or if it's even yourself, just don't go overboard. This is not a get out of jail free card, the Mary Sue. Don't do that. You can make it look like you're Mary Suing, totally, but just don't go, alright, this immediately does this. Nah. Show a little explanation. Everyone loves the exposition of this does a certain thing on this energy source. Like, who knows? There's just so many things that it just expands the list, really. So, what do you guys think?
It seems pretty interesting, and I get the feeling I would enjoy sitting in on some of those conversations as to the different weapons and everything.
Yeah, funny enough, most times it doesn't actually set out like at board meetings or anything. Everyone just sitting around throwing darts at a board trying to figure out what they're going to use or anything. A lot of people try to put actual science into it, so it makes it seem like they know what they're doing. They actually have the science behind it. But most times when I get into stuff like this, it's usually a joke or something that happens at, say, a bar with some of my character's friends, and they go, "Why don't we have that?" And then that's when we go into the deep end and we immediately drop our drinks and head to a science lab, and we figure out how to make a certain thing that we just thought of. Funny enough, that's how we made our own bargain brand of alcohol. We've made experimental babysitting holograms, which could be anywhere 24/7.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all sorts of things. We literally went out the deep end, and as I repeat, alcohol as the end product for R&D is a hilarious outcome. Originally, we were looking to figure out how to melt the duranium with a specific compound of liquid, and it ended up being a really interesting version of alcohol. So, yeah, explain that? We don't know. It's just how we went off the deep end. I'm going to keep on using that as my excuse.
Well, if it works, man.
But yeah, basically, that's the other way you have to look at it. If it works and if it looks good to you and other people see what you're talking about, then there's nothing really going to be a problem with it, really. So that's basically the whole thing with it.
Alrighty then. Seems like some pretty good stuff all around. But anyways, folks, we've come up on the end of our show for this week. Hopefully you've all enjoyed everything. But we'll have everything updated in the notes for everybody, definitely including the correct link to the budget build. Okay, cool. So
It's updated.
we now have the correct link. I'll include that for you guys at the end of this, whenever the local recording goes up. But anyways, folks, that's pretty much it for this week. And Pilot Review Show is heading out of here. Take it easy, folks.
Take it easy.
Catch you later.